And then the rear brakes should be serviced. One more job is done. Right side exhaust pipes rust treatment. It's not done, but at least it's in progress. Rear wheel tires done. Brake fluid done. Service the brakes done. Wait a second. I have done a big mistake here.
This is me and my motorcycle. And this is Thomas and his motorcycle. We have decided to go on a road trip this spring. His Yamaha Tenere is in excellent condition. My old Cagiva, not so much. I have a long list of things I need to do. Can I manage to get it fixed in time to the trip?
I have to say, I'm really sorry for this mistake. As you can see here, rear wheel zinc plating rusted bolt fasteners. I've done that for a long time ago. So this second task here, yeah, I think I did that fix in episode 2 several weeks ago. So I have been one task ahead all the time. One task ahead of what I thought I was. But for once the mistake was positive, at least when it comes to the progress. Now I have updated my to-do list. Put all the done items at the bottom so I can focus on the next items. In total now I have only 32 items left and I have classified them, so 14 of those are important ones. I have done another mistake as well. I have pronounced the name of this bike wrong for several years since I bought it. The name is supposed to be pronounced Cagiva with a G for Giovanni. So I'll try to remember to say Cagiva from now off. Cagiva, yeah. My next job now is to follow up the task from last time, and that is to nickel plate the exhaust that was rusted. And now I come to a real problem. I started the nickel plating process and spent quite a lot of time. I have started the preparation for the nickel plating. I bought one piece, split it up to 3 smaller pieces of nickel. Now I have the negative on that one that looks as it's boiling, and the positive lead on that one. So that is now transferring nickel over to the other one. I have 1 amperage and it's 10 volts approximately from my power supply. I'm using 2 liters of this 12% vinegar, 2 liters of distilled water or demineralized water, and 2 deciliters of salt. And then I stopped recording anything more because, I figured out something had to be wrong. And you can see here the sheet metal type nickel that I had. It's not supposed to look like this, is it? After using it as an anode and a cathode. So the nickel I have bought, I think we can call it fake nickel. I look at myself as quite a calm person, but I was so disappointed at this point. I spent so much time preparing for this nickel plating. I bought this sheet metal weeks ago. Everything has been ready for this nickel plating. And then I have more or less been scammed. I contacted the seller and he said I could have $5 refund and I could just keep the sheet. That's a pretty good deal, isn't it? So for once I said I want my money back. And I didn't ask politely either. I don't know, it isn't expensive at all, but this ruins my plans, because now I can't find anyone locally here to sell this, and it will take some weeks before I get it. So it really, my plans, so irritating. I decided to just use my heat protective paint. I don't want to delay the project anymore. So now I have just painted it. You can see it up here. Let's see how long this will last without any rust protection, just the paint. I did, however, zinc plate the protective shield and painted it with rim paint. I'm not sure if this will stand the heat. It's attached directly to the exhaust pipe. Yeah, I'll take a chance on it, and I'll rather redo it to the winter. Sometimes I just feel that this project, it's just problems all the way, but I think now the next 5 tasks is easier. Replacing oil filter, oil, timing belt and an oil seal here. I've prepared everything, bought all the parts, so I think the next job is gonna go pretty easy. And now I jinxed it, didn't I? Should never... Oh. The oil plug doesn't look too bad, but at least no metal debris here, so that's a good sign. These oil plugs might have a magnet here to collect metal parts if something is wear off the engine. Yeah, this looks nice. Here I have an unauthorized trick for you. I've never seen anyone do this, probably not recommended at all. So please don't do this, and if you do it on your own risk. So what I do now, I clean the oil plug and I put it back in. I have emptied the oil filter. This is the old oil filter, and now I put it back on. Just temporarily, just hand tight. I have removed both the spark plug caps, so there is no spark. The engine will not start. So what I do, I turn on the ignition and I run the motor for a few seconds. The idea here is that the oil pump gets out a tiny bit more of the old oil. Let's see if some few more drops. Oh yes, look at that. And what about the oil filter? Is it anything here? Yes. Not that much, but nice to get rid of most of the old oil. And by the way, I use the same technique after I have replaced the oil. I just run it a couple of times with the starter motor just to get the oil around in the system, fill up again the oil filter before I start the engine. So the spark plug caps are now still removed. And normally you could then also see if the oil pressure builds up, but actually the oil indicator lamp doesn't work on this bike, so that's another task on my list actually that I have forgotten. I think it's the sensor on the oil cooler. One extra task there, but that is for later. I'll put back on this microphone, it's better. So that was quite an easy job. The next one, it's a bit more challenging. It's replacing the timing belts, but that's not too difficult either, I hope. When I do that job, I will at the same time change this oil seal, which is called center timing belt oil seal. And it needs this special specific tool to remove the pulley. So I bought that one, well prepared I thought. And then after closer inspection, I needed one more tool. So I made it myself. And luckily I have my favorite TIG welder, Magma, and my favorite lathe, Holzmann. And using those two I managed to make this custom tool. This one is the wrench I used to take off the nut, and this other one holds the pulley tight. So then maybe this should be an easy task. Except I noticed one thing over at the bike. I'm pretty sure someone has tried this before me without using the proper tool. So it doesn't really fit into the grooves here, and you can see damaged here. My self-made tool works nice here, goes into some holes, and then I can use it to rotate this to the correct position. Before I take off the timing belt, I'll try to repair this as good as I can here by knocking like this, trying to get as good grip as possible onto this nut. It looks like one of these grooves are very damaged, one is slightly damaged, and two of them are pretty good. I guess I just need to try to loosen it. What you can see also is accidentally now I have almost aligned these markings, but that's not that important yet. That will be important when I take off the belt and put on new ones. Now I really just need to put this holder somewhere, maybe like this. Now it's stuck there, and then this goes in like this. Maybe, hopefully, this goes. Crossing fingers. Oh, that was not a problem at all. Oh, that was so nice. This bolt was not difficult to take off. Sometimes you're just waiting for the worst to happen, and then it was so easy. Now, before I take this off, I would like to put the position to this. So you can see I put on a dab of paint there to easier see that I got the right position. So these should now be aligned here. So then it's time to loosen this. So now this pulley is loose. This is to keep the tension correct on the belt. Maybe I could just take off this pulley. I gotta remove it anyway. Just remember that this goes on like that. Maybe giving it a little kick here. Don't lose that one. Normally you should of course not take off these pulleys. It's the same once more. Here is this thingy that needs to go. Yes. Ooh, there it is. Then this goes. This is a tiny part I'm removing. So then comes the question, how to remove this old oil seal inside there when the engine is not disassembled. The way I have done it in the past is just to totally destroy it. Try to make a hole here with a sharp screwdriver or something and just tear it out. Let's see how that goes. Yep, I got a hole, I got a hole. The old one, of course, gets totally destroyed when you remove it this way, but what else is there to do? And then it looks like this. Trying to get away small pieces of the plastic that might have got stuck here. And I put on a small dab of silicone grease to lubricate it. And then it should be just to press on this, try to rotate it into position, and then give it a helping hand. like this. And then it's just to put on everything in the reverse order. Then the oil seal is replaced and I'll put back on the timing belt before I torque this to the right specs. This has actually been misaligned. I've been knocking around here, so let me just try to use this one to get it back into alignment. I would suppose that is what has happened. Yeah, this typically springs its back, so now I must make sure that all the marks is still on the right spots. I'm also using a bit of acetone, trying to clean everything, and using gloves, not get any grease on the new timing belts. Then put on this one. I'm just temporarily setting this nut here so it's not getting misaligned for the next one. So this seems to be correct now. Seems to be easiest to do this when you put the tightening mechanism in the center. And by the way, since this seems to be a self-locking nut and I'm reusing it, I'm putting on a dab of Loctite here, just to be safe. And the timing belt isn't supposed to be too tight. A 5mm Allen key is supposed to slide in between here. A 6mm should not go. So I think I've found the correct tightness here. You're also supposed to be able to use a guitar tuner to listen to the frequency. I couldn't really make any sense out of it, but I think this should be okay compared to what I've seen online. Then comes the final part. I found 71 Nm as the torque for the center nut and 25 Nm for the M8 bolts that holds the tensioners. And then finally time to put on the timing belt cover again. I think the bike is done on this side. That's not bad. Just to put everything back on the bike, like the exhaust. And of course there's a lot of small things I've forgotten, like gasket. I don't have a new gasket. And the old one was pretty bad, so I'll try it without now first. Putting on these collets. At least I learned the name of those. So then putting on the ring first, probably. Then the collets. So I'm temporarily putting on the fairings here, still missing some of the parts and the bash plate as well. But let me show you here now what I've been doing now recently. The exhaust pipes and this one and this one. 4 tasks done, and I think it's time for a celebration. So I will try to test it a bit, and I have a surprise as well. because I have actually got a new exhaust DB killer just recently received in the mail. And it has a feature I would like to test out. I did test my self-made exhaust in one of the early stages of this fix series, and it was a bit tiny in the sound when I had the DB killer. So I think maybe the new one is better. Two and a half centimeters should be the travel here. That's not much. It's a bit loose. To not damage the nut, I'm using this thin glove as a cover, or as a protection, I mean. Yep, that looks fine, 2.5. And then I gotta make sure it's equal on both sides. This was the old DB killer, and the new one had this cap that could be removed. So the DB killer that's on here now, it has an open end, but it is a bit narrower than this one. I have set up my DB measure equipment. And the microphone here is about 2 meters away, and the measurer is 1 meter. 1 meter. And I put on the regular microphone, so you will now be able to listen to the sound compared to my voice as it is if you have been 2 meters away. I would say the sound is much better than previously with the closed DB killer. It has a bit more bass, deeper sound. Let me rev it a bit. That's how it sounds. I think I'll go for a short test ride before I continue. In the next episode, I will take a look at the front wheel. Also, the fuel tank has a problem from the previous owner that made a somewhat sketchy repair, I think. So, hope to see you back soon.